वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह everyone. Another week, another weekend, Saturday evening, and we getting blessed by having your darshan. Another beautiful session to get Charan Tudi of all of you with Maharaj Kirpa. And today's topic is one of the very challenging thoughts which come to our mind. We can summarize within a very simple way, but actually it's a very deep concept and it controls a lot of things revolve around us. We're gonna be discussing about generation gap. There was a movie in, I think, in 1960s, 70s or 80s, maybe later on. In that movie back in 1980s, one of the directors or producers, they shown this generation gap topic back in those days 40 years ago. और मूवी का नाम सीगा कल आज और कल, so yesterday, today and tomorrow. And he beautifully shown the three generations, the granddad, the dad and the son, and the conflict between these three generations. And the dad, who was kind of sandwiched between the son and the granddad, that was kind of whole story. And I think I was very young when I saw the picture, I understood the practicality of the topic itself myself, because I was going through a very difficult time at that time. My father was not Amritari. I took Amrit and started going into the Sangat of Amritari Singhs and Kirtan Darbars, AKJ, Ransabai Samagams and so on. And I can relate easily that there was something between me and the family which was not resonating. Today I can understand, today I can feel that what was the missing piece of the jigsaw. And the missing piece of jigsaw is, or was at that time, is the generation gap. Is the gap between me, and my father, a gap between me and my son, and the gap between the two generations, the length of the length of the age difference, the time difference between these two different generations. So we're gonna be touching few Gurbani di Panktiyan. We're gonna be touching few examples from Itihas, at how people have managed and people are managing this challenge which most of the parents and the children alike come across in their lives. So I'm sure there might be some young people on the live, there might be some parents also on the live. So this basically is a two-way traffic, and we're gonna be going through the Panktiyan of Gurbani and try and understand what Maharaj says about this whole concept. I am very sure that many of us have heard about the Shabad called Puta Mata ki Asis, Nimak na bisaro tumko har har, Sada pajaho jagdish. Now in this Shabad, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj are trying to make us understand that there is a very beautiful relationship between mum and son. Puta Mata ki Asis, Putar nu Ma di Asis. Putar is a soul and Ma is a God. Putar is a son, Ma is a mother, materialistic mother. Puta Mata ki Asis. Nimak na bisaro tumko har har, sada pajaho jagdish. Mum is actually praying for the son. God is actually praying for the soul bride. Ki nimak na bisaro, just for the microsecond. Thono nimak na bisaro tumko har har, sada pajaho जगदीश. कि एक माँ अपने बच्चे वास्ते असीस मंगदी है कि even for a microsecond तेनू रब दा नाम ना भूल जावे. Now this is where we have to put a full stop in our lives. How many of us parents are actually blessing our children with this kind of wish? How many of us? We need to ask ourselves. How many of us are actually, if children are actually walking on this path, how many of us are actually appreciating that they are doing something better than us? Then the third question is, how many of us actually want our children to follow this path, first of all? Because all of us want our children to become doctors, to become engineers, to become pilots, to become something successful in the life, in materialistic side. How many of us actually want our children, forget about the studies, forget about those mathematics and scientific booklets, I want you to become what you want. I want you to become what you would like to become. How many of us think like this for our children? How many of us think like what we didn't got in our lives, where we had the restrictions in our lives, we should not be putting those restrictions in our children's life? How many of us can relate with this situation which we were living in back in those days? If we had all the luxuries and all the comforts, and those luxuries and comforts spoiled us, are we doing the same mistake again for our children? These are the questions which are all linked to this one wish. Nimak na bisro, tumko har har, sada pajo jagdish. How many of us are actually wishing this for our children? So this is the main starting of the thread. And if we can understand that this is a main duty of us as a mother, as a parent, कि असी अपने बच्चियां वास्ते विश की करना, अपने बच्चियां वास्ते अरदास की करनी है, then the game go very smooth and it starts very nicely. It also applies to the children. It is not just applicable to the mother, it is also or father or the parents. In my case, when I took Amrit, it was a very different story. I straight away got into the Sangat of very beautiful Gursikhs. They gave me the Daat of this Chola, Bana, and straight away after taking Amrit, I started wearing Bana. But my father used to start saying कि हुन तू खालिस्तानी बन गया या हुन तू ए हो गया, तू भिंडरां वाले ते ए ते ओ. Back in those days, these were the words which is being used very negatively. I mean, I'm talking about 20 years ago, 22 years ago kind of time. And because none of the family member actually was Amritari, it was very difficult for me to make them understand what I am feeling, what I am going through, what changes I am going through in our mind, in my heart, how I am developing my love for the Guru, how much I want in my life in terms of the spirituality. I was unable to make them understand because there was no bridge between me and the parents, because the bridge of this generation gap was there. There was a gap between me, my understanding, and their understanding. They thought कि I'm too small to understand all these things. I may not get married. I may become extremist. I may divert to different direction. I may not go to good career. I may not choose right career path and so on. They thought I was too young to take the decision of taking Amrit on my own or something. And I was thinking that what is wrong with them? I mean, Amrit मैं शक्या या माड़ी मैं पढ़दा या. What is the problem with them? They are living their own life. They are living their own way. दो पावे मीट शराब खांदे या जो भी कर दे, let them do it. I am not bothered about it. But let me live my own way. There was a gap. The gap was a communication channel. I never got chance to actually sit down with my parents and make them explain wholeheartedly कि father, mother, this is what I want. All the life since I got birth, or even before my birth, when I was in my mom's womb, only you two were the people, father and mother were the only two people who kept thinking about my happiness, who gave their whole life to get one smile on my face, who did all the hardships. सारी उम्र तुसी मेरे वास्ते इन्ना कुछ कीता, and now when I wanting to be happy myself, then why are you becoming this kind of roadblock in my happiness, in the journey of my happiness? Why you can't see my happiness the my way? Why it have to be my happiness your way? I never sat down with them, Sat Sangat I never had the courage to sit down with them. And On the other hand, my parents also never did any kind of effort to make me sit down and explain their way कि तू हुणे छोटा आ तेनू समझ नहीं आउंदी है इदा. It was always like a clash, लड़ाई झगड़ा, शराब पी के लड़ना डैडी ने, and so on. This is what I'm trying to explain, कि there is a communication channel which we need to have with our children. Stop thinking about back in those days. My birth is 1984. The period I'm talking about was I would say 97, 98, 2000, 20 years ago. Zamana 20 years ago was something else. There was no iPhone, there was no iPad, there was no iPods, there was no these kind of gadgets around us. There was no Flipkart, there was no Amazon. There was Google, but at a very small, minuscule scale. What I'm trying to say, technology de naal generation badal di hai. And parents, now ask your parents, the people on the live, ask your parents, are they in touch with all the technologies we are dealing with? My mom doesn't know about Amazon. My mom may not even know about the Flipkart. My mom doesn't know about eBay. All she might know might be the Facebook, because that's all her circle may lies in. But she might not be able to do live on the Facebook. She might not be able to do sell products on this Facebook. She might not be able to do boosting of the Facebook posts. She can only use it to the very basic level. And this is where we need to understand the gap. If we can think about those times, then we should be thinking about the time ahead of us also. And the children who we are growing, they don't belong to the age we belong. ਜਦੋਂ ਇਹ understanding ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ, then we sit down with the children, we put their lens in our eyes and then start looking from that particular lens itself. What happened? Actually what is happening, ਬੱਚਾ 10 ਹੁਣ ਬਚਿੱਤਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਹੈਗਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਬੱਚਾ ਬੇਟਾ, ਇੱਕ ਸਵਾਲ ਪੁੱਛਦਾ ਆ, there could be 2 or 3 ways I can answer. I can easily shut him off. I'm very busy, don't come to me, I'm very busy ਪੁੱਤਰ, ਬਾਅਦ ਚ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੀ. One easy way of breaking the communication channel. Second way, explaining him my way of things. So for example, just recently, just half an hour ago, Bachitra Singh said, ki Dada, I've heard that all the Nihang Singhs used to wear kamar kassa even during sleeping. Even when they were resting, they used to wear kamar kassa. So I will be wearing kamar kassa from today onwards, from tonight onwards, and I will not be removing kamar kassa forever. And then I asked him the question, what is the purpose? Do you know the purpose of the kamar kassa first of all? I could have easily said, no, you can't do this. No, this is not for you. This is for Nihang Singhs. This is for the Dalpanthi Singhs. You can't do that. This is not for you. You're too young. There are ways to answer. There are ways to shut the communication channel. But those 5 extra minutes of my life, when I explained him, Puttar, do you know the meaning of kamar kassa first? Do you know the reason why they did at that time? And do you know why you would be doing now? Do you see the actual reasoning behind you will be doing and actually getting any benefit out of it? When I asked all these questions, he answered himself, okay, then I won't be doing it for night. Answer is not, I don't want him to do or not do. I want him to make his own choice. But I want him to make the educated, the informed choice for his life. Most of the parents out there are not spending this much time, and the communication channel is not existing between the children and the parents. Many of the parents just feel, हाँ जो मैं नहीं कर सकिया मेरे बच्चे ने करना है. I didn't got this, I'll make sure my child do this. I didn't become the lawyer, I will make sure my child become the lawyer. And we just try and we just keep forcing our wishes on to the children who doesn't even belong to a generation, who don't know and don't want to understand the language we used to speak and walk and talk. And that's the main problem between the clashes. And then after certain age, the same parents who used to love. Now one very small example here on the same topic. When mom give birth to a child, how much love, how much pyar mom, especially mom, dad also, but mom do with the child. All those 9 months in the womb, first of all, then second, all the breastfeeding, all the feeding times, all those months, and then the child is growing up, how much love, 24 ਘੰਟੇ ਮੇਰਾ ਬੱਚਾ ਨਜ਼ਰ ਨਾ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਵੇ। ਇੱਥੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹ ਕਾਲਾ ਟਿੱਕਾ ਲਾ ਕੇ ਰੱਖਦੇ ਆ ਚਾਰੋਂ ਪਾਸੇ, ਨਜ਼ਰ ਨਾ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਵੇ ਕਿੱਥੇ, ਉਹ ਭੂਤ ਵਾਲਾ ਮੂੰਹ ਲਾ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਬਾਹਰ, ਨਵਾਂ ਬੱਚਾ ਪੈਦਾ ਹੋਇਆ। those kind of things happen, beliefs. And after some time, let's say 5-6 years of age, child follow what parents say. After 6-7 years of age, child started becoming more intelligent, and this gap of the age is increasing. Now the same parents are taking the same child to the shopping. Up to 5-6-7 years of age, child didn't had any kind of choice, or very minuscule choice, very soft items which we say, okay dad, I want this, but not very hardcore. But after certain age, could be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, depending on what kind of child it is, they become stronger and stronger and stronger in representing their own wishes, in putting forward their own choices. And that's where the clashes started happening. No, this is not for you. No, I like this. No, because for the very beginning, mom and dad used to do this for the child, because child was not unable to do anything on his own or on her own. So there was a reason why child was not being able to choose or select anything on their own. There was a reason. Now there is no reason. Child has become grown up enough. They can make their choices. They can tell you what they want, what they like, what they don't like. But parents are still thinking, no, child no, inu nahi pata lagna, menu pata hai ki changa aaya. No, this is my choice. I like blue color. No, this doesn't suit you. You like, theek hai, it may not suit you. What is important? What is important? You child looking beautiful in front of the fake people, or your child being happy from inside by wearing what he likes? What is important? We need to make the decision. No one can teach this thing to us. What is important to us is we need to make the decision that children's happiness is important, or the fake worlds, or the would make people happy is important. कि मेरे बच्चे ने जे बढ़िया कोट पैंट नहीं पाया, टाइट फिट एंड बढ़िया टाइट ला के नहीं पाया, then ना ये नहीं गल बननी है, फिर ते काम गड़बड़ है सारा, मेरी नक थल्ले हो जानी है, हाय तू शैबी जा लगना है, तू टोपी पाई हुई है, तो एक सोने का कड़ा पाया हुआ है, तो फलाना कीता तो टमकना कीता है. There is a very thin line where child is actually going out of the control, which is another challenge within this parenthood. And this is where another kind of angle which we have to keep in mind, ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦੀ ਪੰਕਤੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਹਾਰਾ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ, ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦੀ ਪੰਕਤੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਅਵਗੁਣ ਬਖਸ਼ ਲੈ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਆਗੇ ਮਾਰਗ ਪਾਵੈ. Now this ਪੰਕਤੀ's context is same ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਬੱਚਾ ਗਲਤੀਆਂ ਕਰਦਾ ਆ ਤੇ ਉਹਦਾ ਪਿਤਾ, ਉਹਦਾ ਡੈਡੀ, ਉਹਦੀ ਮਮ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਮਾਫ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈ. They forgive the child. Now this is the thin line of difference कि we should not let child get spoiled, should not let child get out of control. We are still responsible for the child's growth and child's successful life. It doesn't mean कि ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਪਾਸੇ ਕਰਤਾ, ਸਾਰੀ choices ਦੇਤੀਆਂ, and then later on after 18 years 20 years, ओहो बाबा जी, ओहो बीबी जी, ओहो ये हो गया जी, बेटा गल नहीं सुनता जी, बेटा आखे नहीं लगता. फिर पहले आखे लगन वाली गल नहीं की करके इन्ने मोह च आ गए, नहीं पुत्त चल जा तू खेडी जा, चल जा, कोई नहीं, कल एग्जाम है, कोई नहीं पुत्तर होड़ खेड लिया थोड़ा जा, कोई नहीं, एग्जाम तो होंदे रहंदे आ, इत्ते काम ते आई चलाई चली जाती, चल तू खेडी जा. And when we go on to these kind of mentality कि जो मेरा पुत्र मेरा जे, even if someone have complained about the son or daughter, blind parents who want to spoil their child, they don't say anything to their child. They will start taking गालां कट रहे अपने पड़ोसी दे पुत्तां नूं कि उन्हें गलती होनी है, पुत्र तू बह जा इत्थे, तू कुछ नहीं कीता पुत्र, मैनूं पता तेरी कोई गलती नहीं हैगी. This is where we are crossing the line, crossing the control line. Even if the child haven't done any kind of mistake, even then our job is to explain the pros and cons of mistake happening or not happening. आज उन्हें गलती नहीं की थी पर कल नू कर सकता है, आज ज़्यादा लिफ्टिंग देन करके कल दी प्रॉब्लम खड़ी हो सकती है. तो parenthood is not an easy job. At the same time, childhoodness also is not an easy job, but one person who can understand the children is the parent. किसी बार पड़ोसी ने आके नहीं समझना है, साथ संगत जी अपने बच्चियां नू असी आप समझूंगे, and only then we can save. So ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦੀ ਪੰਕਤੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤੀ ਕਿ ਨਿਮਖ ਨਾ ਬਿਸਰੋ ਤੁਮ ਕੋ ਹਰ ਹਰ ਸਦਾ ਭਜੋ ਜਗਦੀਸ਼, ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ. First of all, we need to implement this pankti into our lives. However many people are actually on the live, ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨਾਲ pledge ਕਰੀਏ ਕਿ we will start wishing this for our children. We will start asking this from Maharaj कि महाराज निमक for even for a microsecond ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਦੇ ਹਿਰਦੇ ਤੋਂ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਰਿਓ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਦੇ ਹਿਰਦੇ ਤੇ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਰਿਓ. Always, 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 always please bless my child so that he remembers you. First wish ਜੋ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਸਾਡੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੁਝ ਲੋਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੰਗਦੇ ਹੋਣਗੇ. I'm sorry if those people are actually listening to me, but this is a fact. First thing. Second implementation in our lives is again the gun of the khima, ਮਾਫ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲਾ ਗੁਣ. ਬੱਚੇ ਨੇ ਛੋਟੀ ਗੱਲ ਤੇ ਗਲਤੀਆਂ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ ਆ, ਵੱਡੀ ਗੱਲ ਤੇ ਵੀ ਗਲਤੀਆਂ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ ਆ. Many times children do feel guilty. Don't put them into the court of law. They are very young, we need to understand again, but keeping ourselves into the controlled line, keeping ourselves into the controlled side of the fence. If we are seeing that the child is not coming in time and he might be getting addicted to paddy, sangat, drugs and something, then we should take firm decision. We should be getting authorities involved, we should be taking medical help, we should be doing ardas to Maharaj and do some Gurbani jap for them regular so that they don't get out of control. But ਛੋਟੀ ਛੋਟੀ ਗੱਲ ਤੇ ਝਿੜਕ ਕੇ ਪੈ ਜਾਣਾ, ਉਹ ਤੇਰੀ ਕੀ ਕਰਤਾ ਤੂੰ, ਸ਼ਰਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦੀ, ਆਪ ਹੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਭੈੜੀ language. We our parents start saying, calling our children with those words, which is the main problem. ਮਾਂ ਦੀ ਦੁਆ ਵੀ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਛੇਤੀ ਆ, ਮਾਂ ਦੀ ਵਿਸ਼ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਛੇਤੀ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਹੈ, ਔਰ ਇੱਕ ਮਾਂ ਦੀ ਬਦਦੁਆ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਛੇਤੀ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਹੈ. ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, there have been many examples of this situation. One of the examples, I'm not going to go into detail, one of the example is ਰਾਮਚੰਦਰ ਜੀ. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬਨਵਾਸ ਜੇ ਜਾਣਾ ਪਿਆ ਤੇ ਬਦਦੁਆ ਕਰਕੇ ਹੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਪਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ. I'm not going to go into detail. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਪੇਰੈਂਟਸ ਦੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬਦਦੁਆ ਕਰਕੇ ਹੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਪਿਆ. ਦ ਰੀਜ਼ਨ, ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਕ੍ਰਿਸ਼ਨ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੀਏ, ਜੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਸਟੈਪ ਮਮ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਪਿਆ, ਇੱਕ ਪੇਰੈਂਟ ਦੀ ਮੁਖ ਤੋਂ ਨਿਕਲੀ ਹੋਈ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਕੇ ਹੀ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਪਿਆ. ਦੇਰ ਹੈਵ ਬੀਨ ਮੈਨੀ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮਪਲਸ ਇਨ ਦ ਪਾਸਟ ਵਿਚ ਵੀ ਹੈਵ ਬੀਨ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਐਂਸਿੰਗ ਸੋ ਫਾਰ. ਸੋ ਮਾਂ ਪਿਓ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਪ ਕਦੀ ਮਾੜਾ ਨਾ ਕਹੋ, ਕਦੀ ਵੀ ਮਾੜਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ, but keeping ourselves within the lines of control. If we know the child is already gone out of control, even then somewhere down the line we are at fault because we missed looking, we must have missed something within the journey of this growing up. We must have missed something. Why? Because we are so busy in earning monies, because we are so busy in our own kitties and parties and our friends and our own kind of cultural life around us, which made us distant with our child. The communication channel negligence, absence of clear communication, absence of the educative guidance, informative guidance. What are all those reasons why the child is getting away from us? Why? एक parent वास्ते child सब तो important है. On the other hand, साध संगत जी, there are many families, they have proved that for a child, parents are the most important piece. I mean, I'm going to give an example. We got in India, the richest person in India is Mukesh Ambani, the Reliance Industries. And they have proved this thing, 100% right. The legacy they took from the father, this Mukesh Ambani, and he basically took everything and take it to another level. Just because he was very much attached to the father. He listened to every single thing what father said. And before going, father said, Putter, मैं बहुत कुछ petrochemicals च बना ले आया, तेरी life technology दी life हैगी आ. Make sure the way I ruled petrochemicals industry in India, you should be ruling technological industry of India. And today he has proved his father's words. The father is no more, but he has proved his father was that the biggest technological tycoon after becoming the biggest technological tycoon of India. So what I am trying to say here is, we need to be understanding, we need to be having a very clear communication channel with our children. ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਟਾਈਮ ਸਪੈਂਡ ਨਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਤੇ ਸਾਰੀ ਉਮਰ ਦਾ ਰੌਣਾ ਬਣਦਾ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਸਾਰੀ ਉਮਰ ਦਾ। ਐਂਡ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਨਿਕਲ ਗਈ ਨਾ, ਜਦੋਂ ਗੱਡੀ ਨਿਕਲ ਗਈ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਤੋਂ, then it's gone, it won't be coming back. Then there is no fun of giving blame to the children. We should be making sure that it's our responsibility to spend. Its responsibility not only finishes by paying the children's school fees, by getting them the school dress, by giving them the good food, by taking them to the shopping, by taking them to the parks and stuff, and taking to the theme park. Responsibility also includes spending time with the children, spending time with them and understanding them. And same applies to the children also. Children also should be thinking by putting their parents' shoes into their feet, why they are saying something, because they have got much bigger experience. Now here another example. Babaji are almost 72, almost. I am 36, half of the age of Babaji. I have never ever even thought of saying anything what I don't know about those times. Babaji have seen double the life of my age. Babaji have visited, Babaji have read double the amount of content what I read. Babaji have ate double the amount of food what I had ate so far. Babaji have wore double the amounts of clothes what I have wore. I need to understand this gap. Ya Karandeep, tenu nahi pata hai yaar. Just listen to them carefully and follow it. Okay, if you don't want to follow it, then put your point forward. But there is no way you can compete with the knowledge they have got. Children have to think like this. And in a similar way, children have to think like this, that when they were young, their parents spent time with them. Now when their parents are old, now it's their time to spend time with the older generation of parents, which is another missing piece of jigsaw. Why? Kyun load pegi in old age home kholan thi? Why? Why there is everywhere you got these care homes in England and all other places? Why? Why? ਬੱਚੇ ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਵੀ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਡਾਟਰਸ ਵੀ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਆ, ਸਨਸ ਵੀ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਨੌਕਰੀਆਂ ਵੀ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਆ, ਬਟ ਇੰਟੈਂਟ ਚਲਾ ਗਿਆ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਨੀਡ ਟੂ ਸਰਵ ਅਵਰ ਪੇਰੈਂਟਸ. The love for the parents have gone because we become so much selfish for ourselves only. So imagine the middle generation is getting sandwiched, because middle generation is not looking for the younger generation. सिर्फ पैसा कमाना, क्योंकि रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटियां बहुत हैं. ओ भाई, जिन्हें जन्म दिता रोटियां दो दे ही दूगा. Don't become God. जिन्हें जन्म दिता है, the God have brought us onto the earth, they will give the food. Don't try and become the God. If want to become something, want to try and become like God. God is caring, God is compassionate, God is kind. Bring these qualities in the life. 24 घंटे गालां कड्डी जाना ठीक है. ओल्डर जनरेशन हैगी, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫੋਨ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕਰਨਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਂਦਾ. 2 ਵਾਰੀ ਕਾਲ ਕਰਨਗੇ, ਕੱਟ ਜਾਏਗਾ ਗਲਤੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਤੀਸਰੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਫੇਰ ਆ ਜਾਏਗਾ. ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਲਓ, ਔਖੇ ਨਾ ਹੋਵੋ. ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਮੀਟਿੰਗ ਇੱਕ ਟਾਈਮ ਦੀ ਹੋਏਗੀ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਰੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਮੀਟਿੰਗਸ ਕੈਂਸਲ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ. लेकिन we don't understand these things, Sat Sangat ji, because we feel we are more intelligent than the youngers, we are more intelligent than the elders, and this is where the communication breaks. This is where there is a need for the government to actually open all those care homes and old age homes, because we are forgetting our responsibilities. This middle age generation, problem kithe aa jandi hai? Ego inni zyada हैगी है. Husbands are not willing to listen to the wife's parent problems. Wives are not willing to even take care of husbands' parents' problems. There is a clash, because they want to live their own life, because they don't want anyone else's nose into their lives, because they think that this life belongs to them, but they forgot this life doesn't belong to them. This life doesn't belong to them. This life belongs to their parents, and further this life belongs to the children, because for them you're gonna be living for the half of your life. How many of us are paying mortgages? How many of us paying home loans? For whom? Will we be living in the house? Do we know that? 25, 30 years we keep paying mortgage, and at the end who is end up going to live in the house? Our children, our generation, our coming generation, our young generation. So who will gonna be cherishing them? For who we are living then? For them. And for who we belong to? Our parents, who invested their time, their blood, their veins, their milk into us, our parents. So ना तो असी बच्चियां वास्ते सोच पा रहे हैं, ना असी पेरेंट्स ਨੂੰ खुशी दे पा रहे हैं, पर असी अपने आप वास्ते अपने आप ਨੂੰ ਭੰਬੜ ਭੂਸੇ ਚ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੈ. Becoming so much confused that we are not taking happiness from either of them. And this was the crux of that movie I mentioned earlier, Kal, Aaj aur Kal. It was a beautiful concept. It was done by Raj Kapoor. Raj Kapoor sir was very, very popular and very nice kind of director who always brought real life stories. And I'm not sure if it's available in English or not, but must be with English subtitles. तो ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ 3 generation gap show ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ. Communication channel ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਆ. Whether we are parent, we need communication with our parents. If we are children, we need to communicate with our parents. If we are parents, we need to communicate with our children. We should not be breaking this communication channel at any cost. ਰੋਟੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲੇਗੀ ਨਾ ਖਾਈਏ. ਅੱਜ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੂੰ ਗੁੱਸਾ ਕੀਤਾ, ਉਹਦੇ ਦਿਮਾਗ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹਾ ਨੈਗੇਟਿਵ ਭਰ ਜਾਣਾ ਆ, ਮੇਰਾ ਪਿਓ ਤੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਪਿਆਰ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ, 24 ਘੰਟੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਗੁੱਸਾ ਕਰਦਾ ਆ. You always shout at me, you always scold me, you don't love me, you do this, you do that, and gone. Relationship gone. आज ABCDEFGH is going into child's mind. 1 2 3 4 5 6 going into child mind. Our shouting, our scouring, that's also going into child's mind. If we cannot take out ABCDEFGH out of child's mind, we will not be able to take out these shoutings, these loud noises, these kind of abusive languages which we usually use in front of our children. May not be for them but for other people, but they do pick up these things. They do pick up these things, and then later on when they use these things, then we think, oh my god, what is happening, why this is happening. But at earlier age, we were the one who actually gave our child the chance to actually pick up those things. It's a very, very deep concept, Sadh Sangat ji, and all the mental health issues actually come and converge at this junction जिथे असी अपने आप दे विच ज़्यादा busy हैं, and we are not talking or we are not communicating with the children or the parents, or parents are not communicating with the children. जे असी communication channel रखोंगे and proper healthy communication channel रखोंगे, then there should be no problem, there should be no depression, there should be no anxiety. Poor people, very common example. I've got some questions in front of me. Common example, एक poor family हैगी है, बच्चा कहता मैनू बाहर जाके एक चीज़ चाहिदी है. We should be, we are not in a position, Sadh Sangat ji, that we can fulfill Bachitra Singh's every wish and need. We are not. We are very poor people, particularly my family. Jado Bachitra Singh kuch kenda ya, recent example, because all the education is happening during via this online education. He didn't had any kind of mobile handset or phone or something. So he kept asking ki dada, I need the phone. For some time I keep explaining कि नहीं पुत्र हले टाइम नहीं हैगा बहुत मैं उन्हें vaguely समझांदा रहा पुत्र we don't have enough monies and stuff. But then I think third or fourth time I thought इन्हों इस तरह समझ नहीं आना है. फिर मैं उन्हें बिठाया and I make him explain, Bachitra, look, there are some people who have got loads of monies, there are some people who don't have monies, there are some people who have got little bit of monies. Now when people have got monies, only then they can go to the market and buy some stuff, because anything out in the market comes as the cost. For the cost you have to pay rupees, you have to pay the notes, you have to pay the pounds. And for those people who have got the monies, they can do exchange of the product and the monies very easily. But for those people who don't have the monies, they don't. And then I asked him, do you know your dada work? Do you know I work? No, dada, you don't work. Do you know how do we cater the needs? That your Puwa is supporting us from Australia and so on. I explained him everything, and then he himself said, I don't need the mobile set. I don't need. He himself said he don't need, because I managed to explain him कि what position, what situation we are in. ਇਹ ਸਿਰਫ 5-10 ਮਿੰਟ ਦਾ communication ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹਦੀ expectation ਹੀ finish ਹੋ ਗਈ. Now he knows. For the rest of this whole life he knows कि what condition or what situation where we are in. We are not like top class rich people where children will say something and he will get something like very next minute. This is the way I'm not saying this is the best way. You are the best judge to actually explain your children. They might understand by just taking them out for the dinner. They might understand by talking to them. They might understand by just playing with them. They might understand by just doing this water fight and pillow fight with them. But for myself, I think Bachitra Singh and me, we need this clear communication between two of us. Because I think he is very kind of inquisitive. He needs to know more and more and more. And unless and until he satisfies himself, hun theek hai, then he just need the piece of information. So Sat Sangat ji, nothing more. We just have to have a very clear communication channel with our children, with our parents. Whatever age we are, we got the parents. Whatever age we are the children. तो असी अपने पेरेंट्स से नाल और अपने चिल्ड्रन से नाल एक कम्युनिकेशन लिंक हमेशा रखिए. एटलीस्ट स्पेंड फ्यू मिनट्स. सारा दिन मौका नहीं लगता, शाम को आके अगले दिन डबल टाइम स्पेंड करके. वी नीड दिस कम्युनिकेशन चैनल. एंड another advice which I mentioned earlier, असी विश ते मारज तो मंग लई, निमक ना बिसरो, तुमको हर हर सदा भजो जगदीश. विश ते अपने मंग लई, बट एफर्ट की करना इहदे वास्ते. who are doing, very good. Who are not doing, at least sit down for 5 minutes with your children and do Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru the jap as a sangat in the family roop, and then see the results of this sangat roop jap within the family. Because A, you are asking from Maharaj. B, you are putting your efforts also, making sure whatever you ask from Maharaj, it comes true. And C, you are bringing this quality of forgiveness in yourself, ki no mistake is like end of the world, within the lines of the control. So, inniya ko bentiyan Saad Sangat ji parwan kare. I hope I have managed to share some of my own personal examples when I was child and now when I am parent, because I can see the two differences with the same lens, and I can actually visualize there's a huge difference, there's a very massive difference between the two generations, and we have to understand to save our families, to save our children going out of control. So inni ko bentiyan parwan kare. If I said anything wrong, I seek forgiveness from you. We'll see you next time. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.